There is a groundbreaking development in Africa. The rift is several miles long, and some believe it is a sign the continent is splitting in two.
Could a new ocean be forming right before our eyes? In the heart of Africa, the Earth's crust is splitting apart, and even scientists are puzzled by what this could mean for our world. How will this mysterious phenomenon reshape our planet's future? Let's take a trip to Ethiopia's Afar region, where in 2005 something incredible happened. The ground just split, and a colossal crack over 35 miles long developed in just a few days. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering a giant rip in the earth in your backyard. That's what the people woke up to. But this wasn't a typical crack. It was the beginning of something much bigger, the formation of a new ocean. An ocean doesn't suddenly appear overnight, right? And that's absolutely right. It has actually been forming for millions of years, but we're literally witnessing it happen before our eyes. The African continent is gradually being pulled apart along what scientists call the East African Rift System, a humongous crack that stretches more than 3,000 miles from the Gulf of Aden to Mozambique.
Excuse me, I'm out of breath actually with excitement at this stage. To think this happened overnight, this is the stuff of Hollywood.
Think of it this way. Imagine attempting to pull two chunks of thick taffy apart. It stretches and gets thin in the middle at first, but then it breaks. That's basically what's happening to the African continent, except on a mind-bogglingly gigantic scale. The continent is literally being torn asunder by forces deep inside the earth, and where it's stretching, the crust is thinning and thinning. You know what's even more mind-blowing? Down below the surface, there are these huge underground rivers of magma-like liquid highways of molten rock moving under the Afar region. We're not dealing with your typical lava flows here. These magma rivers would fill the Grand Canyon multiple times over. It's like Earth has its own system of underground lava highways, and they're remodeling an entire continent. Here's something amazing that most folks don't know about. Remember those huge cracks forming? Well, scientists have seeded thousands of seismic sensors all over the region, kind of like giving Earth a full-body checkup in real time. These little gizmos are recording every rumble, shake, and tiny movement beneath our feet. And what they're discovering is totally mind-blowing. Here's the really cool part. In some places, the ground is actually rising by several millimeters a year. Sure, a few millimeters doesn't sound like much, but we're talking about lifting millions of tons of rock. It's like the Earth is doing a slow-motion bench press with an entire continent. And get this, some of the magma chambers under the Afar region are filling up way quicker than they should be. It's like someone cranked up the heat on Earth's stovetop and nobody can figure out why. But it's not only the amazing geology that will blow your mind. This whole thing has real-world implications. The rifting is creating some of the world's most unstable volcanoes and inducing earthquakes that can impact millions of people in East Africa. Communities are already having to get used to a changing world, with new lakes forming and others vanishing. The Afar Triangle, where all of this is taking place, has another amazing secret. This area is sometimes referred to as the cradle of humanity. Do you know Lucy, that world-famous 3.2 million-year-old human ancestor? She was discovered right here. It's amazing to think that the very Earth that helped shape human evolution is now transforming right before our eyes. And here's where it gets really cool. Scientists are using everything from satellite images to drones to monitor what's happening. But check this out. They're also collaborating with local Afar elders who've lived in this part of the world for hundreds of generations. These elders have amazing traditional knowledge about the land that's actually assisting scientists with the timing of geological events. How cool is that? Ancient wisdom and new science are collaborating to solve Earth's secrets. But maybe the most mind-blowing part of all this is what it does to our ideas about Earth's future. We're seeing the early phases of continental breakup, a process that will completely reshape Africa's geography. Fast forward a few million years, and the continent of Africa will be totally transformed. The Horn of Africa will be an island cut off from the rest of the continent by a new ocean. Think about the implications for a second. A new ocean in East Africa would fundamentally change weather patterns on the continent and beyond. It would create new ocean environments and affect sea life and land animal migration patterns. We're talking about transformations that could rewrite life on this planet as we know it. Want to hear something that keeps geologists awake at night? The timing of it all is entirely unknown. While we do know the entire process will take millions of years, recent movement in the Afar is leaving geologists wondering if maybe this is all happening faster than we originally thought. Rifting isn't an even process. It speeds up, slows down, and sometimes seems to come to a complete standstill. It's like Earth is performing its own cha-cha and no one knows why. And what about the elephant in the room? what's the contribution of climate change to all of this? While rifting itself is a tectonic force-driven process far beneath the Earth's surface, our own changing climate might be able to influence the way this geologic soap opera unfolds. Sea level rise might speed the ocean's eventual flood into the Rift Valley, and altered patterns of precipitation might affect the way the landscape evolves. As the world warms, polar ice caps and glaciers melt, contributing to rising sea levels. This is no drippy footnote of trivia. It has very real-world consequences for places like the African Rift Valley. If sea levels rise faster than expected, the clock on the sea's flood into the rift could be significantly shortened. This alone would reshape the physical landscape, but it could also have far-reaching consequences for local ecosystems and human populations. In addition, altered precipitation patterns may bring altered vegetation and soil stability to the region. Increased rain could mean increased erosion, speeding the rift's widening. Conversely, years of droughts could kill vegetation that keeps the soil in place, making the landscape more vulnerable to erosion and landslides. These changes in the environment may in turn influence the rate at which the land masses are being torn apart. Climate change may also influence seismic and volcanic activity indirectly. Some research indicates that alterations in atmospheric pressure and the weight of ice and water on the Earth's crust can influence tectonic activity. While this is still developing research, it's fascinating to consider how Earth systems are also interconnected in such complex ways. The human element must also not be forgotten. Climate change impacts agriculture, water, and habitability, and can lead to increased migration and population pressures in some areas. Rift populations will need to adjust not only to geologic change, but also to the general implications of a changing climate. Buildings can be reconfigured to accommodate new conditions, a problem that can also spur innovative creativity. Further, climate change influences ecosystems. Sea level rise could cause the Red Sea or Indian Ocean to overflow into the rift prematurely, disrupting local ecosystems. Changes in precipitation could boost erosion, enlarging the Rift Valley, and drought could denude vegetation, destabilizing the ground. The struggle against climate change is about anticipating and perhaps adapting to fundamental changes in the Earth. By being aware of the relationship between our activities and the Earth's responses, we can ensure that this wonder of geology occurs in a manner that conserves ecological equilibrium and promotes community well-being. The most fascinating aspect of the equation is that it's a chastening reminder of just how dynamic our world is. Humans are prone to regard the Earth as static, with mountains, continents, and seas unmovable. But in fact, our world is perpetually in motion, constantly renewing itself through processes that occur so gradually that we can hardly perceive them. As this time and space-bending trip comes to a close, there's a sense of awe-inspiring wonder. We're amazingly lucky to be alive at a moment in time when we can observe and learn about such an amazing geological process. Think about the bragging rights you'll have when you tell your grandkids that you were alive when a new ocean started to form. That's the kind of story that makes the best family reunions. Every crack, earthquake, and volcanic eruption in East Africa isn't just a geological event. It's a page in Earth's diary, telling the story of our world and giving us hints about the future. And not only are we reading the diary, but we're seeing it written out before our eyes in real time. If that isn't the most amazing thing you've heard so far today, I don't know what is. So, what do you think about this incredible geological phenomenon? Does it change how you view our planet? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this as fascinating as we do, don't forget to like and subscribe for more mind-blowing videos. Until next time.